Sons of the American Revolution Atlanta chapter, Reverend McAloo.
Before we move into the prayer, I am a graduate of the Naval Academy 74, so good to have another Academy grad. So. Let's join together in prayer. Father God, we come together today to remember and honor all of those who have answered the call to serve our great nation and all nations. Service which meant bearing arms, but ultimately for the cause of peace. It's fitting that this day also marks a historical example of that high goal, the centennial of Armistice Day and the end of that specific massive conflict. As we remember the commitment of all of our veterans to national service during this and other events around the world, we beseech you to keep before us the ultimate truth that all people are created equal and all are accountable to you, our Creator. That you have formed each one of us in your image, and we gather truthfully to honor you with our presence here today and every day. Bless these proceedings now as we share, and we ask that in your name. Amen.
Amen.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Wow.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you to Mr. Miller and to Reverend McAloo. For nearly a century, we have observed this day, Veterans Day, on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The battlefields of Europe fell silent after more than 4 years of fierce and intense fighting. We welcome each of you to this important observance. We thank you for being here. Our numbers include members of the Consular Corps here in Atlanta representing nations from around the world. We thank you for your presence today, including many who are allies in the Great War. We're pleased to welcome representatives of veterans organizations from around the state, representing those who fought in this great conflict 100 years ago and our nation's battles before and since. We welcome officials of state and local government and many individuals who have supported in many ways the efforts of this state to recognize its veterans of all wars, and specifically this year to commemorate the centennial of the Great War. There are many here worthy of introduction, but I'll extend particular welcome today to Medal of Honor recipient and Vietnam veteran, Major General U.S. Marine Corps retired James Livingston, General Livingston. Thank you, sir. We also extend particular welcome to the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia and Iraq veteran Colonel Bobby Christine. Colonel Christine. Thank you, gentlemen, for your service and for your representation of all who have served. Created by the Governor and the General Assembly in 2015, the Georgia World War I Centennial Commission was charged with educating Georgians about the significance of the war and Georgia's role in it in particular, honoring those Georgians who served and sacrificed, and properly commemorating the people, places, and events in Georgia that contributed to the war effort. Beyond the Commission's role in organizing today's official state commemoration ceremony, we've pursued that mission in a variety of ways, and I'd like to take a moment to enumerate those for you. The Commission's projects, I would point out, were funded entirely by private donations. No public funds were appropriated for its activities. And we express our sincere appreciation to those private donors, who include the Department of Georgia of Veterans of Foreign Wars, Delta Airlines, the Tuskegee Airmen, Hilton Hotels, Gulfstream, Georgia Power Company, the John H. and Wilhelmina D. Harlan Foundation, and numerous generous individuals. Without these valued supporters, the work would not have been accomplished to the extent it has been, and we thank them for that. In furtherance of the mission to educate future generations on the significance of World War I, through a grant to the Georgia Department of Education, the Commission supported development of World War I curriculum to be integrated into history courses in the 5th, 6th, and 8th grades in high schools of Georgia. In conjunction with the Georgia Humanities Council's annual History Day program, the Commission awarded 2 top winners who created World War I themed projects. Our 8th grade winner today is in Washington, D.C., attending events at the national level surrounding the centennial of the Armistice. And we were pleased to award our grand prize high school winner this July with a trip to France to see centennial observances there at the battlefields where Americans served and the cemeteries where so many of them lie in final rest. The Commission has created a comprehensive website on the history of World War I in Georgia, including a catalog of all memorial sites and monuments around the state. Primarily through the efforts of Dr. Lamar Veach, the retired state librarian, we're now able to honor all 3,700 Georgians who gave the ultimate sacrifice in the war, because official memorial records of 100 years ago omitted all but the white soldiers. Communities around the state have updated their monuments or created new ones to add the names of African Americans and others who previously had not been appropriately recognized. This may be the Commission's greatest achievement. There have been exhibits, seminars, symposia, and other programs and productions around the state examining and commemorating World War I. To begin to name those who participated would risk leaving someone out. But our appreciation goes to museums, colleges and universities, drama companies, and others across Georgia who made significant effort to stage commemorative events and programs. The Commission erected a state historical marker commemorating the tragic loss of some 130 Georgians among the 370 who were killed in the 1918 wreck of the troop ship Otranto. Many of the Georgians killed came from just 2 small Georgia counties, Berrien and Screven counties. Those communities literally gave a generation of their young men to the cause. The Commission is in the process of creating and erecting a sculpture of the first African-American military aviator, Columbus, Georgia native Eugene Bullard, who flew for France because the U.S. would not allow him to fly because of his race. The statue is to be located at the U.S. Air Force Museum of Aviation at Warner Robins and is to be dedicated this coming spring. The Commission worked with the Georgia Department of Transportation to plant memorial poppies along the Moena-Michael Highway, US 78, between Monroe and Athens, in honor of Ms. Michael's role in the development of the Buddy Poppy to support veterans. She was a native of Monroe and a faculty member at the University of Georgia. This is just a brief overview of the work of the Georgia World War I Centennial Commission over the past 4 years. I'd like to ask that the members of the Commission who are with us today please stand. Now will our Commission associates, advisory board members, and strategic partners who may be present today please stand. Thank you, and others of our number are at ceremonies in Washington and in France at this time. Our thanks to every one of you for your contributions to this important commemoration. There's one person who is particularly key to any success this centennial observance may have had, and that is Sheffield Hale, the president and CEO of the Atlanta History Center. From the beginning of our work in 2015, Sheffield made the resources of the Atlanta History Center available to the Commission. This facility has been our primary meeting place. It has staged and hosted exhibits and seminars. All we had to do was ask, and Sheffield said yes. He's been the head of the History Center for the past 6 years. The dramatic transformation of the History Center that you see physically here around us is directly attributable to Sheffield's direction. The relevance of the Atlanta History Center to today's Atlanta and to Georgia have been greatly enhanced. With the same diligence that he's directed this effort, he's made possible much of our work of the Georgia World War I Centennial Commission. So it's my great honor to call on my friend Sheffield Hale to bring us information on the History Center and to introduce our keynote speaker today, Sheffield.